Test. Testing. Okay. So welcome to the engineering doctorate graduation ceremony of the TU Delft. The program we have 3 programs: product design, process and equipment design, and bioprocess engineering. And in particular, a warm welcome to the candidates, their supervisors, family and friends. This microphone isn't very stable. Okay, apologies for that. Also, the supervisors from industry, everyone online or in the audience. The engineering doctorates program is highly successful, gaining international recognition, and the companies involved are very enthusiastic to contribute to this education. The TU Delft very much appreciates the involvement of these companies, and also it's noteworthy that many of the candidates or graduates shortly are all highly successful in getting positions in industry, indeed also maybe even before their graduation. So just to introduce myself briefly, my name is Stephen Picken. I'm Professor of Polymer Materials at the Chemical Engineering Department. And so, let me see. Please make sure that your telephones are off. The whole session will be recorded on video, and we will try to keep our time. Everyone has been instructed on the amount of time available for their presentation, and also the supervisors for their laudatio. And so the ceremony will start, but first we have a slide here. So we have these programs that I already mentioned, and we now have, we're counting 521 521 graduates in this engineering doctorate program. And so we see that it's already been going on for 32 years. And so it's the oldest program is 32 years ago it started. So it's a rather successful program. And so now we can also see the large number of countries involved. I was looking for all countries. Some of them are still missing. We need to work on that to get even more countries involved, but we're already highly successful with graduates from all over the world. And so 52 nationalities and counting. There's still a few countries to be added in due course. And so we will now start with the process and equipment design. And the first candidate is Sharangdan Bave.
That's one next. Yeah. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sharangdan Bhave. I'll first introduce myself a bit and then go into the project that I worked on. So, the other way. My project was on the design of a safer and greener process for separation of branched fatty acids, which I performed at Kargil Bioindustrial in the beautiful town of Khauda. A little bit about myself. I originally come from India, from the town of Pune, very close to Mumbai, which many of you might know. I pursued my bachelor's in chemical engineering at BITS, Goa, a coastal state, again, on the west coast of India. And then I came for my master's in chemical engineering to TU Delft, which I finished in 2021. And then I moved down to doing the engineering doctorate in process and equipment design. And as part of that, as I said, I've been doing my individual design project at Kargil Bioindustrial, Khauda. So a bit about the project background. Branched fatty acids are long-chain carboxylic acids with typically a methyl or ethyl branch on one of the carbons. These are typically used in cosmetics, bio-based polymers, so for plastic bottles, in EV batteries as insulators, and also as lubricants in many motor applications. This is how produced in industry right now. You start with natural oils, you split them. The fatty acids go through a polymerization process where the branched fatty acids are produced. They are hydrogenated and then they are separated to get the linear fatty acid and the branched fatty acids. And the separation process was the focus of my project. And the problem statement is that currently we use a solvent crystallization to do this separation. And the solvent that is being used at the company is toxic and flammable. The refrigerant used in the crystallization is toxic. And the distillation process required to recover the solvent is energy intensive. So we want to make it more sustainable. We want to make it more safe. And that's what I started my project with. So I'll be very brief with my approach. What I did was I evaluated multiple separation technologies and selected the best suited technology for the technical needs as well as the commercial needs of the company. Dry fractionation was selected as the technology. This is again crystallization, but without a solvent. But then the separation is based on thermodynamics rather than, so you need to obtain that data because I'm operating in a niche field, not very much public literature available. So I obtained that thermoequilibrium data from my experiments. Based on that, I designed some process concepts and I compared the performance of this process concept with the current process on technical grounds, so sustainability, energy usage, etc., and also on economics, so how much do we save in operational costs and how much capital investment would we need for this new process. And this is what I ended up with. So the new process is a multi-stage separation process. Using this multi-stage separation, I was able to achieve the current product purity, and I was able to projected exceed the recovery specification of the current process. I was able to eliminate the solvent. You can see I can reduce steam usage by 85%. Refrigeration was reduced by 70%, and this resulted in a profit in operations. And I was also able to make recommendations for future work for experimental verification of this conceptual process, and then also give some guidelines on how commercial configurations should be investigated and then carried forward going into the future. And to end, I would just like to thank all my friends, all my family, my parents are here as well, and all my friends all over the world who have supported me through these last 2 years. And obviously, all my supervisors whose guidance was extremely valuable in the project. Thank you.
Yeah, it should work a little bit. Sarangan, first of all, my congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And I was very happy to see also your parents came all the way over from India for this graduation. So also congratulations to them. It's quite a trip, so it's nice there. And then, yeah, you showed some very nice results, huh? And then it's always the way, how do you get there? And I remember when we started the project, then you thought, okay, we can do a crystallization, we get a pure A and a pure B, and he had made a wonderful project plan with a wonderful timing. And the first thing, crystallization he did, he got a crystal mixture. So the first thing you can do then is throw the whole project plan away and start rethinking. And I think that was the first time you needed some mental assistance or to get you through the project.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think those things happen a bit more often because then, yeah, he did a lot of modeling, but of course, yeah, modeling is as good as the data as you put in. So we also want to do experimental work. Okay, yeah, I go to Delft and there's a perfect installation. I just do experiments. I said, well, be a bit careful with this planning. Might be not that fast. And indeed, you went there. Shit, it can't do anything I want. I can't do the analysis. and he had to go building and adapting, etc. So that was, I think, the second time he needed mental assistance.
Yep.
And then in the end, he had his final report, and he came to me, and he was so a bit down. I didn't do this, and I didn't do that, and I said, and then we had another mental therapy session. You remember it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Look, you showed this, you showed that. Put your achievements in there. And apparently you didn't do such a bad job, because Cargill was enthusiastic. They offered you a job. And they certainly want to make sure that any advice he gave on further future work, that it would be followed up, because he was also made in charge of the continuation EngD project, defining it and making sure that you can't escape.
Yes.
Yeah? I think that's what I took away. It was really a pleasure working with you. Also the interaction we had, the initiative you took to set appointments, etc. And also the preparation. I enjoyed it a lot. I think you also made a very marvelous contribution, although it didn't completely different as expected, but that's more often in life, so no problem about that. And again, my congratulations. And yeah, we'll keep in touch in the coming period, because I'm supervising the continuation project as well. So
we have a meeting next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now we have a big moment. Can I invite you to please sign your name? This is the ultimate test, huh? Okay, thank you very much. So I have for you
Thanks a lot.
On the assumption that this microphone is okay now, we have the next candidates, please. Rocio Villagran Vargas.
My name is Rocio, and I come from Córdoba, Argentina, where I studied chemical engineering at the National Technological University. It's a beautiful city, but I have to leave it to come to the Netherlands to start my program as a process and equipment design. Here I did 2 projects for sure. First, a group design project in which we compare different technologies for the production of green hydrogen. I couldn't get away from hydrogen, and I continued my project in blue hydrogen, for which I had to develop a new business development tool. This name sounds fancy, but why we did this? Basically, the blue hydrogen team at Shell has a workflow which it relies on multiple tools. For example, Unisim for process design. Then they have multiple Excel sheets. You never know which one to use. So this is, of course, time and resource intensive, especially when it comes to the people that have to do the work. Then the idea comes to do something like, how can we solve this? And they say, okay, let's create this new business development tool. The idea behind this tool was to integrate all this work into a single space. And if we do this, we can save time when we are doing screening on the early stage projects. And for that, we could, of course, first simulate the whole thing, mass and energy balance. Then we did sizing and costing, and then a techno-economic evaluation. This sounds a lot of work, but we can actually do this within a few minutes. And not only that, but of course, do analysis in different scenarios, also with a few clicks. Then the EngD tool, as you see here, well, in the screen, is a really user-friendly tool that they have already. And how we did this, first, we took a deterministic approach. which was first a big challenge, because if we do this, we cannot do iterative calculations. And in process engineering, you have streams going around, coming from the product, doing a lot of integration. And for that, we had to, of course, simplify it. How we did this? We did equation-based mass and energy balance. And these equations were not only for a whole process unit block, it had to be done equipment by equipment. This means we had to do not only, for example, for a column, but also for heat exchangers and small little parts of the process, which of course it took quite a lot of time. This tool, actually, I cannot show much about it, but apart from doing the mass and energy balance, you could have also the option to do a single variable sensitivity analysis. For example, the reactor temperature. You can change it, and doing that, you get the values to further optimize your process and compare it with different technologies. The results were actually pretty good for, let's say, the first prototype of this tool. When it comes to mass and energy balance, we could achieve errors between 1 to 5%. When it comes to mass balance, to energy balance, between 1 to 2%. And for the KPIs that Shell was interested in, we achieve errors of less than 1%. So this tool was approved for early stage project screening. And thank you.
Hi. Rocio, I wrote something to tell you, but I decided not to do it via paper. Paper is still there, but I decided to do it without.
That's the best.
You started almost 2 years ago, a little bit more than 2 years ago, and you had a very challenging project, I would say. You had to do your simulations. Besides that, you had to do a lot of work regarding to administration, getting people from different departments of Shell together to get things done, and pushing them. On the other hand, it was very difficult, I knew, but on the other hand, we talked a lot about that, and you found it also interesting. You learned a lot during this time, not only technically, but also soft skills. And I would say that you take 2 things from TU Delft to house after your graduation. One is that you notice that not all things in life is in your favor all the time. And you managed to overcome the issues very well. On top of that, and when you work for an organization and you deal with different people, you learned how to work with people who you might not like it, or he or she doesn't like you. You learned how to manage it. And I'm happy of that. You did a great job. Thank you very much. And I wish you all the best for your life.
Thank you so much.
Administration. There we are. Can you please sign here? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, the next one. Ved Dubashi, please. This is forward, that is back.
Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Ved Dubashi, and my project is related to metal hydrides and the utilization for the storage and purification of hydrogen of all sorts. So a little bit about me. I also come from India, like Sharandan, but from the coastal state of Goa. A beautiful state with beautiful food, beautiful people, and beautiful beaches. I left all of that and decided to pursue engineering in Manipal. And this is my time there. I spent time under a blanket full of stars pursuing astronomy, but also a little bit of mechanical engineering on the side. And I realized my true calling is to do something for the energy transition. And that's why I came to TU Delft for my master's in mechanical, and then finally decided to do my thesis on direct air capture. My insatiated thirst for things related to sustainability led me to the PD-EngD, or the EngD program. I made a couple of friends along the way, some for a lifetime, hopefully, and a little bit about my project right now. So why metal hydrides? We all know CO2 is increasing, greenhouse gases, global warming, yada, yada, yada. But a miracle molecule comes along and says, hey, I'm the solution to all your problems, and hydrogen. But the problem with hydrogen is basically it requires a lot of space to be stored. Think of it as water to be stored in a water tank. So how do you do it? Instead of compressing the gas, what if we combine it with a metal and store it in the form of a powder? So that's why metal hydrides come into the picture. But this is something that was not really investigated thoroughly. There were a few research papers, and a lot of research was focused only on the material aspects, not on the process design aspects. And that is where I came into the picture, and that is why I decided to do this project for Shell. So we came up with a novel process, which basically takes raw hydrogen, does a little bit of magic in the pre-processing step, stores it in the metal hydride reactor, and then it gives it out as and when required. Voila, problem solved. But how do we compare it? We need to compare it with existing benchmarks. And we compared it with existing technologies such as membrane recovery processes. And that led us to the discovery that basically metal hydrides do definitely have a potential application and a significant edge over membrane-based processes. I'm naturally not allowed to reveal these numbers, but yeah, it is what it is. It is a competitive process. And I was happy that I was able to participate in this project and made a few friends along the way, learned a lot of life lessons along the way. And I can actually call myself an engineer right now. Currently, I'm working as a scientist at TNO. I work on the development of heat pumps. So I made a full circle. I went from mechanical engineering into chemical engineering, and I'm back into mechanical engineering. So I'm happy. Thank you.
So, again me, but this time with paper. I'm doing this on behalf of Professor Johan Padding, who's supposed to give a speech for VET. He was his scientific supervisor, but he was very ill, so he couldn't participate. Dear VET, through this letter, I would like to congratulate you on the great achievements obtained during your individual design project. Many process and energy companies are exploring how they can meaningfully contribute to the energy transition in a way that not only benefits the environment, but also makes sense economically. Hydrogen is expected to play an important role in the energy transition, and hydrogen storage is expected to become a critical component in this. Now, metal hydrides are potentially very interesting material for hydrogen storage, but little research has been done into the best material composition, best equipment, and best processes for realistic application. This is why Shell asks you to make a design of a full hydrogen storage system based on metal hydrides, and with this design, explore the technical, environmental, and economical benefits and drawbacks. VET, you really gave it all in this individual design project. You worked your way very systematically through an impressive amount of literature, both open literature and internal company documents. Based on well-argued key performance indicators, you came to several conceptual designs and started working out the best contenders. Your pioneering work has led to important new insights into the best equipment and processes to use for metal hydride hydrogen storage. A new EngD student has now picked up your work and will continue the development. VET, you really were a special EngD student. not only because you are hardworking and systematic, you were also kind, friendly, and a pleasure to work with. I confirm that this is true. You can explain your results in a clear and convincing manner. In your answer to critical questions, you showed that you had already thought about these questions deeply before. Also, your reports are clear, to the point, and scientifically well-founded. Ladies and gentlemen, because of this excellent achievement, we awarded Ved with a 9 for his individual design project.
Thank you.
Together with his excellent mark for the EngD courses, this means that Ved earned the distinction cum laude. Congratulations. Congratulations and good luck with the rest of your career.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, as his design supervisor, I'm very happy, and he really deserves cum laude. Thank you.
So, need to make sure we have the right diploma this time then, huh? Here you are, sir.
Yeah.
Is the pen working?
Not really. Can we have it? Can I scribble it a bit on something? Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So, does this work? Okay, next candidate, please. Mariana Coluzzi.
Hi. I'm Mariana, for those who don't know me. So about my journey so far. I graduated from the National Technical University of Athens, where I spent my whole life until 2.5 years ago in chemical engineering. And right after that, I came to the Netherlands to start my EngD journey in September 2021. A few months later, me and my colleagues, we started our group design project at Shell, working on green hydrogen. Fell in love with hydrogen, stayed with hydrogen, and I also did my individual design project on blue hydrogen, also at Shell, which started last September and ended 2 months ago. So a little bit about the project. Yes. The hydrogen spectrum, going all the way from gray all the way to green. Started green, ended up somewhere in the blue. The title of my project was Blue Hydrogen Lineup Competitiveness Evaluation and Incorporation of Oxy-firing Technology. Touching upon different aspects of the blue hydrogen process, which we tried to evaluate based on the technical performance, environmental performance, and the economic performance. And at the same time, based on these criteria and these parameters, we tried to increase the carbon capture rate and at the same time make the process more efficient and reduce the heat demand, which is a big problem for the industry. Some key highlights with all the results blurred, basically. We did get to prove that we can have a capture rate, carbon capture rate increase through oxyfiring, 3% increase. For a carbon capture rate which is already quite high. And at the same time, it's not only feasible, but it's also competitive in comparison to the conventional process. As we can see, the cost of the CO2 capture can, in most cases, be lower than the conventional technology. And at the same time, can we reduce the heat demand? Yes, we can. And for that, we shifted towards more power-intensive carbon capture technologies. And there we try to identify, depending on prices and the grid carbon intensity and the feedstock carbon intensity, to identify the preferred operating windows for each option, whether it's heat intensive or power intensive, and create some guidelines and a roadmap that can be used for future process evaluation and benchmarking. Yeah, that's more or less it, I think. Yeah.
Congratulations, Mariana. We are very happy that you joined the EngD program after doing your master's in the sunny Athens. You came here to the rainy Netherlands. During these 2 years, you've worked really hard, and all that effort has paid off in the results that have led to today's graduation. We can really say that you are now an expert on the energy transition, and in particular on hydrogen, because you have worked for 1.5 years or so on hydrogen from green to blue. So during your group design project, you worked on the green line, and then you changed to the blue. That last phase is when I got to meet you and work with you. It was really a pleasure seeing your progress throughout every meeting and seeing also how independent you were and how quickly you went through all the phases of the project. I have to really highlight the fact that your project was one project, but it was indeed many projects inside one, so it was a lot of work. And I think that you really managed to assess all the aspects, like oxyfiring in particular, but many other things surrounding it, and like the technologies that were coming upstream and downstream. So I think that you did a great job. I am sure you will be missed also in the EngD office, since you have been a great colleague and a team member. Some examples that I experienced myself was that you helped with one of the master students to help with a PSA, and you also gave me really great recommendations to visit Athens. So yeah, I am sure you will continue to do great work in the areas of process engineering and energy with your current job that you have already started. So yeah, me and the whole EngD team, I'm sure we wish you the best in your future career, and really congratulations.
So, oops. I have your diploma for you. You need to sign here still. So now for the next. We're now switching to chemical product design, and we have Ahmed. Ahmed, please come forward. Forward and back. Yeah? All right, perfect.
Hi, thank you for joining us today. My name is Ahmed. and I come from Palestina, or Palestine. I grew up there, and I moved to United Arab Emirates, where I did both my bachelor's and my master's in chemical engineering at the American University of Sharjah. After that, I worked for a few years in the fields of women's health and wellness. And in 2021, I joined TU Delft in the engineering doctorate program as a chemical product design candidate. For my group design project, I worked with my colleagues in designing an ultrasound density measurement technique for multi-phase flow. And for my individual design project, I worked with LenuBio in a project called Cell-Free Protein Expression Systems. LenuBio is a life science biotech which offers a disruptive protein expression system and or technology. And this technology is based, or the main component of this technology is lysate. Lysate is the product of the removal of all non-protein related organelles in the cell, and this can be achieved through many unit operations. For example, a plant cell will have its cell wall removed by enzymatic protoplastation, then evacuation where we remove the vacuole of the cell, and disruption and clarification where we remove the cell wall and other non-wanted organelles. And the final product is lysate. Now, this technology differs from the conventional methods of producing proteins, as it's only just a one-step process. So basically, you insert your gene or the DNA of the protein which you want to synthesize, you put it in the technology or the system, and you'll get your desired protein in around 4 to 8 hours. For my project, I focused on the evacuation step, again, where we remove the vacuole from the cell. And this evacuation process is done under density gradient centrifugation. I started my project by conducting a gap and scalability analysis where I defined the differences between two production scales. After that, I did a parameter evaluation where I identified which parameters are significant for the process. And I wanted to do some experimental work where we can, I forgot the word, where we can define the significant parameters of the process. And from these experimentation, I redesigned the process to increase performance. By the end of my project, I was able to quantify the differences between the production scales. I defined the significant parameters. I provided new and more detailed knowledge on the process itself. And through my findings, we redesigned the conventional process or system for improved performance. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yes, and here I am. Hey, Ahmed, congratulations for the achieved result. Your family is also here?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so also congratulations to you. It's very nice. Ahmed talked about you there every now and then. It's very nice to see you now, and I will shake hands later. But also congratulations. You indeed mentioned you worked with LenuBio. What you did not mention that you were the only one, I guess, of all the EngDs that did your final project abroad, because you had to work in Germany, right across the border, not that far away. When we talked, basically the idea was indeed start in Delft and then move to Limburg or to Aachen and do the experimental work over there and basically stay there. And you made a pretty good start in Delft, and then when you moved over there, LenuBio was a startup. And what they do not tell you about startups is that they are working a lot with investors. And I think when closely after you started, investors took over the whole company. But they also said, you are doing 20 things at the same time, and we want you to focus. So they fired 2/3 of the people, got new people in, and really focused on a few topics. Well, you can imagine that's not very well for keeping rest and people, keeping people secure in the company. And of course, that has some effect also on your project, because you saw that suddenly the attention of your supervisors was drawn in a different direction. Another thing that also happened, there was focus on scale up, etc. But that also meant there was less material available to do a lot of your tests. And that means a lot of experiments, basically had to be postponed because the material was difficult to produce, it's expensive, and you want to really make the most out of it. So in the end, everything turned out to be more a theoretical exercise. And then it's very good that we started with it, but still you managed to say, this is how you can improve your process. This is how you can put more strains on the vacuoles to get the splitting better. And as an example. And I think that's very, very good. What we did see, that, well, being in Limburg, of all places, I've lived there, so I know the environment. But also being away from your EngD friends, not always being able to go to the company. At a certain moment, you were not feeling very well. And what's then very good that you also expressed it to us. And then we could also take an action. And at a certain moment you decide, okay, I'm just going to move back to Delft. And you finish that part there. And there we saw you climbing up again and really finishing. And the thing I will remember most of your project is, in spite of all the difficulties, you continued, you persisted, and you delivered in the end a very nice piece of work. So my compliments about that.
Thank you.
And take that along also in the future.
Thank you.
Congratulations again.
So, I have for you a diploma to be signed.
Yep.
Administration.
Yeah. Thank you.
If I'm not mistaken, we have a break for 10 minutes. I'm not sure whether the committee is supposed to leave exit the room, or we hang around. What do we think? I think the committee will leave, and then we'll come back in 10 minutes. Testing, testing. Testing. Had je geen pet zei je? Had je onthouden vanaf een paar. Nee hoor. Anders kan je de pedel
Oh, dan wordt de boot ideaal, dat maakt niet uit. Ik heb er wel een beetje ruzie mee.
Hallo. Testing, testing. Okay. So the 10 minutes break is over. 10 minutes. And we continue with the following candidates. This is design in bioprocess engineering. So we're switching from chemical engineering to bioprocess engineering. So we should see more viruses and bacteria and other dangerous animals coming by. The first candidate is Evangelos Kioskas or something like that. Apologies. I should have practiced. This is forward, that's back. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Yeah, so I'm Evangelos. I come from Greece. My family owns a small winery, and this inspired me from a very young age to try to work with something that involves bioprocessing and food engineering. So that's why I decided to study chemical engineering at the National Technical University of Athens. I graduated on February of 2020, and after that, you can imagine I didn't have that great of some days. But after that, I joined the BP Engineering Doctorate Program here in the Netherlands. And among other things, it gave me the opportunity to work for two great companies here, DSM, where we did our group design project, and Janssen Biologics, where I did my individual design project, and I would like to give you some details on that. So the pandemic put a lot of stress on the global supply chain. And one of the effects that had on the Janssen Biologics was the limited availability of single-use items, which meant that there were many delays in production. And the major problem that created and that had to be addressed was the limited insight on the availability of these items. So the initial approach that was formulated before I was on board was to start gathering data on the usage of these items, and through this data to forecast their future demand in advance. And indeed, as part of this focus, I was able to install these handheld scanners on the production floor, where they are utilized to scan the materials as they enter and exit the storage areas. And the generated data are fed into a forecasting model, which I was able to tailor into producing these results. However, at that point, it became apparent that there was an opportunity to have a more groundbreaking solution and to work towards automating this process. So this solution, it came in the form of the radio frequency identification technology. And its implementation is that all of the relevant materials are tagged with RFID identifiers, which are then tracked throughout the process, and that gives the necessary data. The company is assessing this solution through a technical implementation plan and an economic impact assessment that I was able to provide for them. But in short, the greatest achievements of this solution is that it avoids the stockout events and improves the usage of storage areas in the immediate future. And in the long term, it is capable of integrating for other uses of the technology and to be utilized together with a forecasting model. But most importantly, it is the fact that it helps bring the company into the digital era. Thank you very much.
Paper with lots of writing. Getting old. Need glasses. So, dear Evangelos or Vangelis, indeed, I'm very happy to address you here at this ceremony where you obtain your degree. And I clearly recall when we interviewed you and we hired you, and you came across as a modest but motivated candidate, and motivated also to extend your horizon from Greece to the Netherlands and improve your engineering skills in bioprocess design. You wanted to leave this quiet Greece place, which you just showed, for an intense period in the Netherlands at a university, obtain this degree. So you easily blended in the BPE team, and your classes in the first year went very fine, very good GDP, and then you went up for an IDP. So, like you already said, your individual design project was a J&J, and to forecast this demand for single-use items. And these are very important in the production of biopharmaceuticals, like monoclonal antibodies to treat, for example, cancer. And they don't require extensive cleaning and validation for reuse in production. So making the production process more safe and easy. So J&J experienced this out-of-stock situations with these single-use items hampering their production process, and therefore this better system for monitoring and prediction of the use of these items was required, and your IDP was on generating an approach to model, measure and prove prediction of the use of such items. That's a nice design challenge, and you started implementing one method, as you just showed. However, this was where reality kicked in, and the proposed solution was not really supported by the operators, and hence the process stopped. At this pivotal point, together with your supervisors, Anna Echeverria, Vincent Ruigrok, Kees Hardega and me, it was decided to change the scope and design, and to decide on different methods to measure stock levels. And this was picked up very well by you, and you managed to successfully finalize with a nice design and resulting in a very good mark. So here you went through a difficult period. Stakeholder management was not easy, and finding internal support for your approach that was not picked up by the operators. So that was very disappointing and demotivating. But you continued with determination and with good communication with all stakeholders, you managed to succeed. So this is the lesson. At these instances, we learn the most. Yeah? So coping with setbacks, disappointments, finding solutions and learning other ways to overcome the challenge. And it makes you grow and it gives you pride. So you showed a steep learning curve, you became more proactive, confident and showed excellent capability to master complex problems in a complicated setting. So this will give you sufficient confidence to tackle any future problem. If you could manage this, you can manage every problem. So Vangelis, I'm sure you will be successful in your career, and on behalf of the supervisors and the entire BPE team, I would like to thank you for the excellent work and congratulate you with your degree. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So, need to make sure we have the right form. Here you are. Please sign. Look at the camera. Look happy. Look happy. Daniela Despino, please. This is forwards, this is back. Okay? Forwards, back. Okay?
Hi everyone, I am Daniela Chivaldespino, and I would like to start by introducing me for those who don't know me yet. I come from Mexico City. I have just finished the engineering doctorate here at TU Delft in the bioprocess engineering track. And before I completed a master's here at TU Delft in life science and technology. Back in Mexico, I studied biotechnology engineering. And after graduating from university, I worked for almost 4 years at Unilever before coming to the Netherlands to study at Delft. I'm part of the team of Vagelis, Francisca, and Saman, so we together did a project at DSM, and my individual design project was done at Janssen Biologics. So my project was about designing a real-time performance overview for a department called Primary Recovery at Janssen Biologics. And this project stemmed from the need and the limitations that Janssen was facing on monitoring the performance and analyzing the data of the production process, especially in the department of primary recovery, because the data of the process was inaccessible for operators and people in the management team. So to solve this problem, I took an approach to first scope the project, analyze what were the needs of the stakeholders, analyzing the data and the status that made them available or not, creating a dashboard or a tool for the people at Janssen to be able to get to this data, then testing and collecting feedback about this tool, and finally evaluating the results and the benefits that this brought to the company. So the idea was to create a tool that would give information about the process status, data about the planning, the available personnel and resources of the department, and that at the same time would be a centralized database that would allow the people who access this tool to visualize the status of the process and the availability of resources, and of course support the decision making on the shop floor. And as Vagelis said, the industry is really looking into the digitalization of their activities, so it was expected that this tool was an automated and real-time available. So at the end, this is a little bit of the architecture that is behind the tool that I created. So I combine information from different sources into one software that allowed me to mix this information and customize a database that was later placed into a tool to create the app. These are some of the results. So there are several easily accessible data that the department can use for them to plan their activities with some time in advance. And at the end of this project, with this tool that was created, we managed to centralize various databases. It is also available, the visualization of near real-time process information. It is also a tool that supports the prediction of bottlenecks for the production of the products of Janssen. And it makes it easy to access and to analyze the data of the process itself. So that is pretty much it, and thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Daniela. And of course, congratulations on your degree. as your scientific supervisor, I had the joy of being involved in your individual design project, and I'm very pleased to stand here to celebrate this with you. As we just saw in your short presentation, your project was performed at Janssen, which is quite conventional. Most of them are at Janssen. However, your topic was not so conventional. And I actually remember in the first meeting that we had that you were quite worried about all the programming, and you felt that you didn't master it well enough to perform the tasks that they basically set out for you to do. And maybe that was also the case at that point. So maybe it was a good observation from your side. However, in this project, as we saw, it doesn't really matter where you start, it matters where you end up. And that was very successful, I would say. A little bit about your journey through the project, from my perspective. You started off worried. Then I saw you being overwhelmed with the scope that they had set out for you. I mean, take on all the different aspects in a manufacturing plant is maybe a bit too much. And then also on top of that, learning all the different programming languages and all the databases. So you became a bit overwhelmed, I would say. After that, I saw you taking a deep dive into all the different options that you had available and all the different possibilities. And then I didn't see you for a while. Probably because you were trying to swim through all these possibilities and trying to find out all the solutions to your many problems in this project. But somehow there was a turning point, and you seemed to process all the different possibilities. You came back, you found a way to prioritize everything for you, for the company, and you became very decisive. I saw you presenting your original ideas, advising the team to say what was most impactful for the time frame that was left. And the last part was basically just executing all your ideas, and you had everybody on board, which was great. So I think we can measure your success of the project by the fact that your dashboard was used immediately in the company, and by the people who you designed it for, from the shop floor to higher management. And I think that was also really reflected by the feedback that your supervisors gave, which I want to share with the audience as well. They mentioned that your creativity was one of the key drivers to bring this project home. And you were the one who came up with it and made sure that they saw why it was so impactful. You planned out all the activities, you gathered all the relevant people in the same room on all different levels, and your company supervisors also highlighted that this shows your skillfulness in communication with different types of people. And overall, I would say that this is not a clear-cut project. It was not in alignment with anything that you have done before. And the fact that you made it into a success that it is, and that the people are using it and were listening to your ideas, shows your resilience and your can-do attitude. And the high praises of your industrial partners were also recognized here at the TU Delft. And that is why I have the pleasure to tell you right now that you were also awarded the cum laude distinction. There's a little more. So the way that you were tackling all the problems in your project was also in line with what I gathered from your friends and colleagues from the EngD program. They experience you as a very friendly person, open to help out anytime, a good icebreaker, and a great conversationalist. They shared that they see you as a person who is always paying attention to the details and not hesitant to go the extra mile, or the extra 26 miles, because you also managed to run a marathon. Even though this project was within a biopharmaceutical company, I know it was not close to the biotech processing world that you would like to be in. And what I hope for you is that you take these experiences during your IDP as an example of how to overcome your initial worries about your competences. And I hope you take it as an example to remind yourself that you can really learn a lot in a very short time and even push beyond the goals that were set. To conclude, I would like to reiterate my congratulations to you and your family, and I wish you all the best on your future biotech journey. And later in life, when you're done with your biotech adventures, I would like to come by your little boutique hotel in Mexico. Congratulations.
So, great results. Can you please sign here? Supposed to look happy, huh? So I have for you, let me just... So the next, Saman Kayat, please. Forward, that's back. Okay. Microphone is there.
Good afternoon, dear audience. Thank you for gracing today's event with your warm presence. I'm Saman, originally from Iran, where I was born, raised, and completed my bachelor's degree in chemical engineering. In 2018, I embarked on a new chapter by relocating to the Netherlands. I did my master's degree in environmental engineering at TU Delft. Subsequently, a few months later, excited about the EngD environment and the growing field of biotechnology, I delved into the BPE program. Within this program, I collaborated with my peers on our group design project with DSM. Additionally, I undertook a one-year individual design project titled Bioreactor Modeling and Design with AgriFirm, the subject of my brief discussion today. AgriFirm's R&D department has been dedicated to advancing circularity in animal feed, successfully employing an innovative fermentation process. This fermentation process is like very novel because they grow microorganisms, fungal microorganisms, and specifically speaking, they have engineered cultivation of a certain type of fungal microorganism, transforming nutritious yet potentially wasted streams from other sectors into a more value-added product. And however, the engineering aspects of this fermentation process was somewhat lacking. Therefore, my project came into existence and aimed to develop aim to perform simulation on this fermentation process and also devise a bioreactor for industrial scale fermentation. How did we approach this task? Initially, we made a fermentation model. This fermentation model then was applied to predict some outcomes at pilot scale fermentations, refining it using these actual results. Finally, leveraging these insights and engineering expertise, we made this design for the full-scale bioreactor. So this effort led to the creation of a comprehensive mathematical fermentation model developed from scratch in the Python environment. It serves as a tool for future use to predict and optimize fermentation processes. Moreover, this project contributed significantly to enhance the existing fermentation process through addressing and resolving the engineering-related issues, most notably identifying the main cause of production limitation, the lower level of oxygen in the bioreactor, and rectifying it through devising a new sparger aeration system. Last but not least, this project culminated in the delivery of the first version of design for this industrial scale bioreactor It encompassed meticulous considerations such as bioreactor mixing, aeration, and sizing, heating and cooling, charging and discharging design. And according to the R&D team, this design lays the groundwork for the future detailed design. In the end, I would like to express my deep gratitude to all who supported me in this journey, my Agri-Firm and TU Delft supervisors and colleagues, friends at Delft and elsewhere else, and special thanks to my beloved family. Thank you.
So, Saman, it's a pleasure to be able to address you here today on this final day of your EngD trajectory. And it was a pleasure to get to know you as a person and as a very meticulous modeler. And I have to say, you got a really awesome project to work on. I was a little bit jealous at times, because in a way, you ended up in a bioengineering playground. Yes, you were at a company, but you were working with a very novel process, with a small team that was had very short communication lines, an interesting environment where you had your pilot scale, you had your labs, everything in one place. It sometimes felt a bit like a shop floor maybe, but it really had this very practical, can-do environment. But what they could use was a proper engineering perspective, and that was where you were brought in. And you had a lot of things that you could work on as well, because there was a lab scale that had to be understood. What limitations are there to the process? How did it translate to pilot scale? What can be improved in the pilot scale? How do we interpret the data and eventually come even to what an industrial process might look like? That can be overwhelming, but you managed to navigate it very, very properly. And with that, you showed very good modeling skills. Of course, being a modeler, there is always the risk of going very deep and maybe losing track of reality a bit, which I can also attest to from my personal experience. But I think with the skills that you have shown in your competences in modeling, in design, you are very worthy of receiving an engineering doctorate here today. You have given great insights to the next steps that the company might make in developing this process further. And I'm sure that whatever company you will end up with in your next steps, we'll be very grateful to have you on board. So today we end your journey as an engineering doctorate candidate with a very well-deserved degree, for which my hearty congratulations. And it was a pleasure to work with you.
So this is the right one here. Can you please sign here? So, the next, Francisca Condeos, please. This is forwards, that's back.
Yep, perfect. So, hello everyone. Congratulations to all the graduates. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Francisca. I come from Lisbon, Portugal. That's where I did my bachelor and master's at the Technical University of Lisbon. I then went to Vienna to do my master's dissertation on purification and characterization of extracellular vesicles. Then I worked for 2 years in regulatory affairs, a bit of a different field. And in September 2021, I joined the EngD program in bioprocess engineering, where I had the amazing opportunity to work with my colleagues and friends, doing the group design project at DSM that was about designing and doing a scenario evaluation for a low carbon footprint biomass production plant. And during the last year, I was working again at Janssen doing my individual design project. The title of the project is a big one, Capacity Modeling via Simulation and Scheduling Software of the End-to-End Processes of the Janssen Biologics Leiden site. So Janssen Biologics produces large-scale monoclonal antibodies commercially. And there's a lot of flows of resources going around, but there is a need for more straightforward capacity mapping, as I say there, because it's really a multi-production facility and a lot is going on. So they are pursuing a digital twin, which is a virtual representation of a system, like a simulation model, that can be a supporting tool for decision making. So we want, and the vision that I have there is that we want to receive a question, a what if question, like, okay, we want to receive a new product or we want to have more kilos of that product. We run the model and we provide a data-informed answer. So that was what I was doing. I was developing this model using the software called Simio. And the scope of my modeling was for both the upstream part and the downstream part. So upstream to grow our cells and produce our product, downstream to concentrate them and purify them. And we were mainly interested at looking at resources occupation, namely equipment, rooms, but also materials consumption, such as the media that we use, the buffer that we use, or the consumables. And well, the outcomes of this project, I was able to deliver this capacity model that can now be used by the capacity team on site that is responsible for assessing the feasibility of these new scenarios. This model flags bottlenecks and flags also opportunities for the fluctuating demand that we often observe, that you saw in also Vagali's project and Daniela's project. And I cannot also disclose them here, but we actually received already some use cases during the project time, which really showed the value of these models, not only in the project time frame, but also beyond. And we are now having also more projects coming up regarding simulation. And that was it. I want to thank you all, namely my friends, old and new, my family, all my supervisors, both at the company and at TU Delft. Thank you.
I'm too nervous to not use the paper, so sorry. First of all, good evening, esteemed professors, coordinators, staff, family, friends, but most importantly, the amazing EngDs that are graduating. I am extremely honored to be here today, and for that I would like to thank Patricia and Francisca, of course, for this invitation and opportunity. And for the ones that don't know me, my name is Raquel, and I am here today as a former EngD and one of Francisca's supervisors during the IDP. I would like to start by congratulating all of you for accomplishing this goal, but especially to Francisca, since I followed her journey closely. I know that Francisca carries with her unforgettable moments and beautiful memories from these past 2 years. Moving to a new country is always a challenge, and after the first work experience, restarting studies and following courses can be even extra challenging. But for her, change was an opportunity for growth, and she adapted beautifully to the Netherlands. Maybe some of you don't know, but besides being a biological engineer, and now engineer doctorate, Francisca is also an artist. She joined the choir once she moved to Delft, and the EngD family went to the Aula for the winter concert that she was part of and to support her. Besides studying at the conservatory, she also did some acting and dubbing in her artistic career. But adult life is not only about hobbies and spending time with friends and family, unfortunately. So I remember interviewing Francisca for the IDP project at Janssen and thinking, we really need to get her for the capacity modeling project. And I'm so glad we did. I must confess that Francisca's project was a continuation of mine, and she did a much better job. She's smart, she connected with people and stakeholders from all over J&J without any problems. She is great at presenting, you saw now. She integrated well in our team, and last but not least, she never gave up. Towards the end of the project, I recall telling her, you only have a few days until you need to deliver a report. Don't worry if you don't finish some things. It's fine, just put it as a recommendation. But she never gave up. She worked on the details until the last minute, and everything worked really fine, as you saw now. And you see that we have here a resilient girl. On top of this, she is an amazing friend. If you need a cheerleader, call Francisca.
If you need help, call Francisca. She listens to you and she says the right things to bring you up. If you want to discuss books, series, movies, call Francisca. If you want to party, call Francisca. If you want to exercise, by now you know the drill, call Francisca. Because I don't know if you all know, but she completed a half marathon a few weeks ago, and we all went there, a lot of the EngD family, and her family actually as well, and we were there to support her. It sounds to me that this EngD journey was an exciting one, and as you look into the future, you will know that the journey ahead will have some ups and downs. I know you will take risks, seize opportunities, learn from mistakes, and always be true to yourself. Just know you can count on me throughout this journey. Congratulations once again. I am very proud of you, and I wish you all the luck in the years that you have ahead. Parabéns, estou super orgulhosa de ti e desejo toda a sorte do mundo no que vem a seguir.
Here you are. Sign there, please. Some more administration. So this was the last of our candidates for this afternoon. But of course we had the two cum laudes. I would like to ask the cum laude candidates to come forward once more. With a great degree like that, you deserve, we think, flowers offered by the TU Delft. Shall I? There you are. Congratulations. Congratulations. So, thank you very much. Let me see, where are we? We have now a thank you speech by Sharan Dam.
Once again, as Raquel said, I'm stressed out, so yeah. First of all, good evening, everyone, board members, supervisors, friends and family, and of course, my fellow trainees and especially my batchmates. First, before even starting my speech, I would like to thank Patricia and Sabine for granting me this honor to give the thank you speech. And I would like to thank my batchmates for trusting the traitor for giving the final speech. They know what I'm talking about. As I started writing this speech, I couldn't help but look back to the very first day of the program, to the welcome event we had in Rotterdam, where Sabine and Patricia made sure that we traveled by every mode of public transport available in the Netherlands, trains, metro, buses, even the water taxis in Rotterdam. And there we were in September 2021, coming out of the pandemic, as all of us are aware. And all of us there about to embark on this journey, and we had no idea what was lying ahead of us, I'll be honest. And it's gone, okay. Because this is what we planned for, that we'll start, we'll have a nice time, and we'll finish. That's also what the program brochure promised us. And this is what the reality turns out to be. You start your journey, you're happily cycling, oh, A3PD. you go ahead, oh, GDP. Oh, how do you get to your IDP? And these are the final 2 months of our IDP when everyone's trying to figure out how much to finish, what to write in the report, what to recommend. So that's been our journey. And yeah, as you saw, like many varied projects that we have worked on. And I would say, looking back now, I'm glad it was the second image because it forced us to improvise, adapt, and overcome all the challenges we had. We picked up different skill sets during these 2 years, developed our way of thinking. We learned to apply all the knowledge we had to real life problems and situations. And as you saw, all the amazing projects from tackling the energy transition to helping Janssen make more medicines for us, and also designing all the new processes and products that are there. And also, we managed to get an amazing week-long trip to the Akima conference, where we also could interact with the varied sectors of industries there are and really broaden our horizon. But that is really just part of our story. If I may say so, not even half of our story here. The most important part we have is the people we have had the chance to work with. Just in the last 2 years, Professor Stephen Pickens mentioned all the nationalities that we have had in the past. And just in these last 2 years, I've had the opportunity to interact with more than 70 trainees from more than 20 countries, really spread across the whole world. And that is really the strength of the program. My fellow trainees are the reason why this degree went from being just another degree to being a very enriching experience. Every trainee in the program, as you saw, we are innately ambitious and driven, which, as you can imagine, sometimes can make the workplace very toxic. However, we have managed to maintain a very healthy competition among ourselves. My PED fellows will know what we're talking about. Some of the people in the office know when we cheered for each other when we finished the project and things like that. And that is a very unique environment in the EngD office where everyone is open to collaboration. Everyone brings in their unique perspectives from all of these countries. And we are able to create an amazing mosaic in our workplace. And this is not limited to just work as well. Even outside of work, we play hard. We have had amazing events, geocaching, really running through the rainy streets of Delft to find random things hidden next to the canal, beneath a bike, in the bushes, whatever. We have cheered our fellow mates at marathons, like as you saw, Daniela and Francisca's marathons. And we have also taken part in Dutch traditions, going to King's Day and the Carnival in Maastricht. The next, we play hard, we eat harder. We have had so many potlucks, we have had so many barbecues. The cooking workshop where everyone just suddenly became a master chef. And obviously all the international dinners, and especially the Greek dinner that was arranged very recently. And last, we party the hardest, which is maybe the reason I don't have a lot of pictures from those. And this is actually why I'm confident that we have an amazing future in front of us, because we know how to work hard, we know how to work smart, but even more so, we know how to celebrate our successes, support each other through our tough times, and also enjoy the normal mundane days, which are sometimes most of the year. And now, on behalf of my fellow batchmates, let me also take this opportunity to thank all our supervisors from TU Delft and from all the companies, and especially the core of the EngD program as well, Peter, Marcel, Anna, Joanna, Farzad, Peter, and also Killiam. A special thanks to Sabine, Patricia, and Renee. You play a vital part in building the environment in the atmosphere that I mentioned before. And last but not least, a big thanks to our family and friends who have supported us through thick and thin in these last 2 years. And to conclude, I would like to use a quote that ChatGPT generated for me. This is not the end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter, the batch of September 2021. Let's go out and make our mark on the world. Thank you.
You're having a reception. I still have a few minor closing remarks. So congratulations also on behalf of the Delft University of Technology to all of the candidates of this afternoon. With the honor comes a responsibility, and your degree means that society can rely on your judgment, that you act transparently, and that you independently communicate your results and the social relevance of your work. In other words, your engineering doctorate implies academic integrity. I wish you much success with the responsibilities that come with your new status. So with that, I think we have a group photo, and I would like to close the formal part of this session. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here.
Same position, more or